Everybody, it's your main man, Anthony Brogdon on the 1 and 2s, and I got a good-looking guy on the channel today. He's a smooth dude. Watch out. You're gonna like this interview. I mean, you're gonna like this one a lot. This guy is going, and he got accent too, watch. You're gonna like the accent. He gonna put it on you. Y'all Martin. You know where that come from? From the island of Jamaica. Watch out. I'm not playing with you here at Strong Inspirations. I go around the world. Now, he's from the island of Jamaica. He just told me that. But he's doing this out of Montreal, Canada. And I don't play. I find them wherever they are so that you can hear this history. And it's not, and I'm expanding my scope. It's history, but it's you know, I want to talk about wellness too, and good eating, and good cooking, and a plethora of things on here at Strong Inspirations. So come on, my friends, do me this favor, hit the subscribe button on the channel. Please, I don't ask no information. You don't say nothing, but I hit the subscribe button. And what it does is it let me know you like me because I like you already. That's all I'm asking you to do, except for hit the like button on the video, hit the notifications bell. See, what happens is when you hit that bell, you get notified when a new video come up. And I'm doing 3, 4, 5 of them a week. I just stagger them. I don't, you know, I ain't every other day or something. It hit my heart when I want to put one up. And then tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Don't keep it to yourself, my friends. That ain't right. Here you are running around, you know all this information and you spewing out this knowledge every now and then you don't want them to know where you got it from. Don't do that. Did you see the video and my man out of Jamaica? I got several people on the channel out of Jamaica. I got one guy, Linwood Sweetie, I think is his name. He's an historian. He lives in London, England. And he's from Jamaica. Watch for his video. I got another guy who studied Jamaica. Don't remember his name, but there's a segment on Jamaica on the show, and he talks about slavery in Jamaica and how they escaped, call them Maroons if you want to, up into the mountains. And told that guy, you come up here, I'm shooting back. Watch that video. I got them all over the world. Did you see the one I got with the lady who runs the Genealogy Society of London, England? She says, now, since I took over, I'm gonna make sure that my brothers and sisters have the resources to trace their family, which they might not have been welcome to do before she got there. Watch that video. Did you see the one I did? I'm going international with you. Did you see the one I did with there's 2 of them on the channel where the ladies talk about when they were slaves, their family in America, they fled to Canada. They fled to Canada to get away and they developed communities in Canada. There's a couple videos. And there's the one where the lady said, the British said, okay, we'll get you out of America. And they developed an area in Nova Scotia, Canada for Black people. Watch that video. I'm just like this brother right here, man. We having that Strong Inspirations. I don't play with you. I want you to know this information and digest it and share it with people and tell them about the channel. Now, do that for me, my friends. Watch those other videos on the channel. And as you know, I don't say this often, but you're watching this for free. If it runs on your heart, send us a donation. If it hits your heart, I don't care if it's $5 and that's a tank of gas. But send us a little donation. You can do that on my website, businessintheblack.net. And I want you to do this, my friends. I'm a filmmaker. I'm this good. It's called Business in the Black, on the rise of Black business in America, slaves who went to college. How did that happen? Look at the movie. Slaves who own businesses, how did that happen? Look at the movie. What racists did to destroy big Black business districts. And I'm not just talking about Tulsa, there are others. Look at it in the movie. This movie is good. Now, I didn't get to Montreal, I didn't get to Jamaica, but I did get to London, England, and I got to Toronto, Canada to show my film. And it's streaming on Amazon, and people around the world in the UK can watch it in the UK. It's available on Amazon in the UK. It's called, and in Canada, A Business in the Black. And then I wrote this book. It's similar to the movie, just more thorough, more facts. You can take this, you ain't got to plug it in nowhere. You ain't got to, you need to read this. I got one lady told me she carries it with her in her purse, because it'd be facts that she got to remember and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty good. So get you a copy of my book, Black Business Book. It's very reasonably priced. I'd rather you have it than them sitting in my basement. How about that? And check this out. Every 10th book I sell, I donate one to a school in America. So far, I've donated about 350 books, something like that. Maybe about 400 now. I want people to know this information. So you buy 10 books, I donate it to a school and put your name on the donation flyer. So go ahead and get you a copy. You know somebody who, a school that needs to know how slaves went to college and Black millionaires in the 1800s. People like Mary Pleasant. Have you ever heard of her? She's in the movie, in the book. Robert Small, have you ever heard of him? He's in the book. It's that kind of thing that I'm giving you, this good information, and I don't add no commentary. I let the facts stand on its own merit. Now, you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. I like the word strong. I want to think I'm a strong guy. You hear what I'm saying, my friends? And watch my guess. He a strong dude. There's no question about it. And in my world, strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to my guest today. Come on, strong soul, brother. Let's get it on.
Hey, what a go on?
Yes.
I have to come, I have to kind of go inside to bring back the yard here, the Jamaican style, you know?
Yes.
As I said, I was saying Jamaica, what's up, what a go on, you know?
Yeah, I love it. Okay, with that, you can tell us your name. Tell us your name.
Well, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Audley George Coley, and I'm originally from Mandeville, Manchester, in Jamaica, and I've been residing here in Canada now for a long time. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
My family resided, came up in Toronto. My family is now living in Toronto. Myself, I'm here in Montreal, Canada, with my wife. Yes. And this is where my base is. And I'm really pleased to meet you because we connected through Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, so you know the social media is out there, and I was just putting out my stuff on mental health and about being strong and surviving. My background as a professional dancer, and as I said, I had a battle with mental health issues, and I found a way to overcome it, and now I find my job or my duties to go out and help others. I have like a roadmap. You're just showing the idea that you have some books out. I just happen to have a book that was just published.
Yeah, please show us.
Yeah, I just had a book that was published last year. It came out November the 18th, and you can find it on Amazon. It's, oddly enough, how, overcoming mental health challenges.
Okay.
And so basically, in Montreal here, I'm a motivational.
Let me stop you there, and I mean no disrespect in this. I got to talk about you personally, just a tad. You say you're from Jamaica. What city did you say you're from?
I'm from a town you don't hear much about. Everybody knows about Kingston
Yes.
and Montego Bay and all that, but I'm from a place called Mandeville, Manchester. Because you remember, Jamaica was under British rule for 300 years. So a lot of the cities, a lot of the places are named after English towns.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm from a place called Manchester.
Where is that located compared to Montego Bay and Kingston?
We're in the middle of more in the middle of the island. So it'll be about an hour from Montego Bay and an hour the other way from Kingston. We're right in the hills. You know, it's very cool up there. And Mandeville is known for bauxite, for Alcan. You know,
what are those? What are those?
No, that's what you use. You get from the ground, the dirt. You know, like that's what the mineral, bauxite, Alcan. That's what Manchester is known for. Yeah.
Did now what did your folks? Did you know where your folks got from to get to Jamaica? Did they come from Africa?
No, my family actually been in Jamaica. We're like 3-4 generations. So I didn't have a chance to go back to find out exactly where we're from. But my grandfather is pretty much my mom's dad is pretty much African, but I don't know. I've never traced to find out exactly where that line came from.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Did your folks work in those with those minerals in the company that did those minerals, your father, what have you?
Well, no, not really. My dad was actually a police officer in Jamaica, and he also worked in public service. He was also a mailman. But yes, he did work at Alcan. As I said, Alcan, if you Google it, they'll give you more of the information about what it does. For aluminum, you know, like anytime you have your aluminum wraps and all that, a lot of that comes from Manchester, from Mandeville.
Really? Okay, what was it like growing up there? When you're on an island like that, you lived in Manchester, did you frequently go to other cities as, you know, growing up?
Yes, you know, well, because first of all, I'm in Jamaica, and if you wanted to swim, you had to go to Montego Bay, or you had to go to somewhere by the beaches. So we don't have beaches in Mandeville. Okay. Mandeville is more like a residential kind of settings. Okay. And it's known for education. Like we have like very good schools in Mandeville or in Manchester. But in order to get even fruits, a lot of places you have to go to the Clarendon or Westmoreland for mangoes or coffee, right? So for agricultural stuff, you got to go to different parts of the island. Yeah. Okay. So we traveled a lot.
You travel by car to go to those places, right?
Yes. Yeah, when I was growing up, we traveled by car or by bus.
Yeah.
We even had trains. Like back in the days, we used to have a train that used to run through the island, like a diesel. So there was actually a train that ran in Jamaica.
Did you see white people growing up?
Well, yes, I did, because where we're from, actually on the island, we have a lot of white people. Like in Manchester, we have actually one of the oldest. We have a lot of Germans in Manchester. Like there's a lot of Germans that have been in Jamaica for a long time, and Syrians. So there's Germans, there's Syrians. So because Manchester is like one of those places that a lot of English, when they retire, they come back to, right? As opposed to say so much Kingston and some of the other surrounding areas.
When you saw them, did you think that they were white people considered better than black people on the island? You know what I mean by that? They still got status, or not so much?
Well, they had status because you have to remember, Jamaica was under British rule until '62. We just are celebrating our 60th year of independence this month. So black people always kind of looked up to white people as, you know, well,
Yeah.
They're better. I mean, the jobs that were open were more for Black people. Sorry, for white people, right? So it's not until after independent then Jamaica started becoming more open to, like, Blacks having more position on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play with white kids?
Well, yes and no, but because there wasn't like a lot of white kids. You had some white kids, but um it wasn't such a like there wasn't a big division. Like we went to school, when when you interact with them, it was pretty cool, as I said.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't even notice, like, say, racism and that so much until I came to Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about this? Did you ever have dreadlocks?
I had dreadlocks, but I didn't have dreadlocks until I came to Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Because I said, uh, Jamaica, let's put it this way, it's more about economics as opposed to skin color. So even back in the days, you'd find a lot of very successful Black people, but it was more about your economical status as opposed to your skin color.
Okay. When you say economic status, what's a good job in Jamaica? What are the good jobs? Working at a company and climbing up the ladder,
Well, there was a lot of government jobs as usual. So I mean, a good job would be at the time, I guess the banks, the as I said, Bauxite or Alcan would be like relatively good job, or your nurses, doctors. I mean, it was pretty much the traditional works that were available at that time.
I got
And
you.
but you see that you had a lot of Jamaicans or Blacks that own land. So having their own land or carpentry or their own our farming was a great job, because there was a
I
lot of
see.
farming. So they had their own way of bringing in their finance.
Now, as I had alluded to earlier, that in Jamaica, when there was slavery, they went up to the mountains, and that's where they hid.
Well,
did they hide in your town?
No. No, most of that history that you're getting came more from the Maroon Town or St. Elizabeth and places like that, because my town is more, that would be like the last place. Like slavery, the history you get of slavery is more with the Maroons, because the Maroons were rebellious.
Sure.
And they were never really slaves, because they were not the kind of people that you could get to conform.
Yes.
So they eventually, even the British gave them their own rules or their own laws. So they created their own towns, which is still there. Like you have places in Jamaica now that are called Maroon Town, and they've been living under the same law for hundreds of years. So they were never brought into the city, and
But how far are you from a Maroon town? And let me say that in Manchester.
I'm far in I'm like, there's nowhere that's not far in Jamaica. The farthest you get by, like, now the roads are much better and there's traffic. So everything is within say an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most.
Right.
But I mean, you can't just walk into Maroon Town. I mean, it's like a border, like, you have to know somebody there. And
really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you ever been to Maroon Town?
I have never been to Maroon Town.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, man. So now I want to stay on, and because this is a good topic here, we're gonna get to the book and things like that. But in your town, so you did good in school. Is that the case?
Yeah.
You went to college?
Yeah, I went to school here, university here in Canada, in Montreal.
So Why did y'all leave, if you don't mind I ask that question?
Well, not at all. I mean, my parents, the education at the time was very expensive in Jamaica. My parents have like 4 kids of us, and we left for a better education because we knew that my parents knew that education is the way out. So because you can't afford, once you get to a high school level in Jamaica, to send 4 kids to college or to a higher level, it's very expensive. And so getting to Canada or the US, you give you a better chance.
I see.
So that's why we left. I mean, you know, it was literally, my parents wanted to have a better education for us.
Now, so you left and moved to Toronto, right?
Yes.
First.
Yes.
What was that a culture shock having to go to the hot weather
of course.
Yeah,
I mean, you're looking at, you were born in 100 degrees under the shade, and you could even walk barefoot if you want, and wear shorts and the whole thing. So we arrived to Canada it was in February, so right in the middle of winter.
Yes.
And the first time I saw snow. And you have to remember also that in those days, they never had like where you walk right out of the plane and into the airport. So you come off the plane and you go right into the snow, right?
Yes.
And it's cold. So, it was a major culture shock.
Yeah. When you were in Toronto, did y'all move to a Black neighborhood that a lot of Jamaicans lived in?
Yes, actually, we were at the original Black neighborhood. I didn't realize it at the time, but we're on a place called Bathurst Street. And it just seemed like all the Blacks or Jamaicans that came to Canada, that's where they migrated to. And, the barber shop, you have the West Indian store. And so there was a lot of things around in Toronto, Bathurst Street, that made you feel like you were still in Jamaica.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So that was kind of, it's not like we came straight from Jamaica and then we went into a white neighborhood where it was really been a challenge.
Yeah, right. Because now I've been to Toronto for the Caribbean Festival.
Okay, Carabana,
Yeah, I've been there once or twice over the years, but then you had to deal with white people. Was that a culture shock when you moved to Canada?
That was a culture shock because going to school when we just arrived, that was the first time somebody ever made reference to my skin. It called me names, and because as I said, in Jamaica, yes, we had white people, or we played with white kids and all that, but there was never any derogatory, like, white chocolate face or nigger or
you've been called that?
Sorry?
You've been called that?
Yeah, when I came to Canada.
That's what I'm saying. Do they call Black people up there nigger?
Oh yeah. Oh
really?
Oh yeah. I mean, no, the point is, you see, when you talk about a culture shock, is that in Jamaica, I never was exposed to that. I have never been referred to as a Negro or any kind of racist remarks on that level when I was growing up. So when we moved to Canada, and it was something that, when going to school with the other kids, and when they called you very hurtful names and stuff, like it was very difficult. And it's not until I went home and I even told my mom, the abuse I was taking in school, and my mom, as a Jamaican, said, "Brethren, go to school and beat them up," right? So that's when I started fighting.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. And what was it? Did you all face discrimination in Toronto? Did you think they faced discrimination?
Oh, big time.
Oh, really?
Yes, Anthony, really. I mean, Toronto or Canada is probably one of the most racist places around. But you see, it was very on the down low. So, my mother worked in in stores in Jamaica. So, we never sound Jamaican. So even when we were looking for apartments, our house to live, she would call and, speak very nicely on the phone and said, and they said, oh, fine, Mrs. Coley, come on over. And when she arrives to check out the place, they would kindly say, oh, geez, it was just rented, And so there was a lot of racism at the time but it was very low. It was one of those, I just said, when it's not out in your face, especially amongst the adults.
Yeah.
Right. But amongst the kids, kids just said whatever that came to their mouth.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense. It doesn't go away no matter where you are. So did you hate Toronto and want to go back home?
No, not really. I saw what my parents went through to get us there. And it was a matter of like adapting to my situation. Yeah. And then once I realized, okay, this is kind of where we're going to be, as a family, I just embraced it and I started getting involved. As I said, I joined Boy Scouts, and I also started playing hockey. I really enjoyed the sports. I learned to play hockey.
Oh man, that's
and
good.
that was really where I saw the racism, and even my parents wouldn't come to watch me play hockey because they couldn't take sitting in the stands and hearing the abuse from the other parents towards a child, so
oh man.
But it was never a situation where I go, oh man, I should go back to Jamaica, sort of thing. Because I came here and I made it, I made it my own.
That experience made you what? What did it do for you? Did it make you tougher mentally, so on and so forth? What did that, having to overcome that at a young age too?
Well, I didn't realize that it was making me tougher physically and mentally, because coming to Canada, there was nothing that I lived in Jamaica that prepared me for Canada. There was like no training. It's not like we went to a training and they said, okay, when you get to Canada, man, this is what's going to happen and all that. So you had to learn as you went along. But the fact that, as I said, my mother was very influential in saying, like, I'd come home crying about being called names and stuff like that at school. And she's the one that told me literally, well, go back to school and fight and physically, fight the kids back. Yeah. And once you start to beat them up, they respect you.
I bet. Did you get with other Jamaicans and kind of hang out with people of similar Jamaican background? And
well, I didn't really start to hang out with Jamaicans till we got to high school. Then it was more of a posse, because when you see a bunch of Jamaicans together, you don't play.
I got you. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
But when you're on your own, because when I was playing hockey and all that, I was on my own in the beginning. So I had to develop my own respect for myself if I wanted to continue playing this game.
Did when you were playing hockey, did you think that they really tried to set you up to hurt you? You can check somebody against the board.
No. They hurt me. I've had my somebody use this hockey stick and knock my teeth out of my mouth, and almost knocked me unconscious. So I know they were trying to kill me. We had some very vile situation. There was nights when we played hockey in Toronto, and they'll be waiting for us outside after the game to fight us, like, so. Yeah.
Was your team all black or no?
No, actually, I was probably the only black guy on my team at the time, and it's a good thing I had good teammates. Like, I had some like Greek guys, I had even Italian guys, or other guys that would stand up for me.
Oh, man.
So but it was pretty vile, and I'm sure if you speak to any black person that grew up in Canada, especially that played hockey, they will tell you similar stories.
Really? So now we're moving up the timeline, and I like what you're telling us. Appreciate you doing it. So then, when do you grow dreadlocks, and why did you do it? Did you become a Rasta firing and some, or to study the religion, or it was just a style?
No. Well, after, you see, because I've always been trying to, because I said my parents are very religious, and my dad and very structured and everything like that. So I've always tried to be a good citizen, a good person. And I guess later on, as I got older, and I found out that the system was like kind of bent a certain way. And I've never had run-ins with the police, but you know, when I got older, I had a very negative run-in with the police, and I got beaten up and ended up in jail and all kinds of stuff like that. And so it became, it became apparent to me that I had to kind of start going inside and finding who I am as a person. And so is when I was studying, and I started listening to more Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, and just becoming more conscious of self, and I remember watching Roots. And when I watched Roots, that came on with Alex Haley, and I started, kind of realizing as a Black person and the plight that we live, I started wanting to have more of an identity of who I am. And that's what I went through a lot of different hairstyles. I went through the Afro, then the Afro went from the Afro to a dreadlocks. And then I started studying, more about Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie. And I realized that we were not always slaves, that we actually had a striving empire prior to what North America gave us as information or knowledge of self.
Right.
And then I started reading a lot of it, getting a lot of information about, Egypt and Ghana and just all of the places. And then I just my locks just start coming, and I became much more, as I said, real. And some people call it radical. But when when your eyes open and you start seeing who you are, society start judging you. So that's how the locks really came about. Yes.
Did you learn any Black history in Jamaica when you were in grade school? Did they tell you of the history?
Oh yeah, no, but we were always learning Black history. It was always a part of us, But you see, the history that we learned in Jamaica, when we came to Canada, there was nothing. Like you went from like Black history in Jamaica to coming to Canada, and they just talk about Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and
you're right.
So it got to a point, as I said, is if you want certain knowledge, you got to go out and seek it yourself. And I was very lucky that I had an African teacher when I was a teenager that taught me about Ghana, West Africa. And then, I started getting the love. God, they even get you to hate Africa. And you wonder, why do I hate Africa?
Right.
And then I realized once I got the knowledge of Africa, I embraced it.
Were there other, I know there were, but did you find others like yourself who also had similar mindset that y'all might meet and congregate and did y'all form an organization and that kind of thing?
Well, yes. Well, more so when I got into university, I start interacting with a lot of like very brilliant minds, very brilliant young Black men who, they were well read, very learned. It's like more or less how the Black Panther would be, where a bunch of guys that get together and they start sharing the same interest.
Yes.
And then they realize no matter how bright you are, you can still have run-in with the police. And then you realize that the reason that you're having problems with the police is because you're Black. And it's not because you wear a three-piece suit or because you have a PhD. They'll just harass you for no reason. And so once a bunch of us start getting together and understanding the philosophy of it, then we will get together and exchange information.
Did you ever try to do something to change the way way it was? Did y'all like do a protest?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there was a time, especially here in Canada, where we're always out, even years ago when Rodney King got beaten up. We always have our protests here in Canada. I mean, it's not televised because it does seem like when you think about Canada, you don't think of Canada with a large black black organization. But you mentioned at the beginning of the show about the blacks that went to Nova Scotia. The Scotians were one of the biggest, protesters here in Canada. But what they did all in Nova Scotia, they had a place called Afroville. And you're not going to get it, especially in American history or anywhere else. But Canada literally tore down Afroville, like, just like what they did to Black Wall Street. They tore down this black community and never rebuild it. So there's a lot of stuff that happens here that it never makes it on the international scale, right? I went to the States as a child for Boy Scout to represent Canada, and the other scouts were actually shocked that there's a black person living in Canada, because their image of Canada is that like you're a black person. They don't see it. Right, we don't get enough international attention, especially when it comes to negativity.
When in Canada, is there a black person that you followed or over the years that was really a staunch activist that we might not know their name? Is there a Martin Luther King? Is there a Malcolm X or somebody like that?
Actually, we had a gentleman here. Actually, he's from the States. He was a reverend here at the church here. It's Reverend Gray, but he's back down in the States now. And he kind of came up here a couple of years ago, and he was trying to kind of promote that activism like down in the state. But that didn't, they just water you down here. They have people in Toronto, but there was another gentleman, his name can't come to mind right now, in Toronto. And he was somewhat of an activist, but they don't get international attention. It's like, as you said, like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X.
Sure.
But there are people here that are, like right now we have a young man, his name is Denberg Reed, and he's involved with, he's in Montreal here. And when George Floyd was killed, he actually assembled a large group of people to protest. Yes. So yeah, there's a few people, but they're not internationally known.
Yeah, right. In Montreal, you got to speak French. You speak French?
I speak enough to get by, but French is the first language here. But we do have a lot of Black French from Africa and Haitian French. And but as I said, you don't get enough attention. There's not enough attention that is brought to Montreal from the Black perspective.
Is there a Black newspaper in Montreal?
Yeah, it's called the Community Contact. Yeah, but as I said, I don't remember the last time I saw something that happened in Montreal on CNN.
Right, sure,
right.
Sure.
You got like in Canada, like that. There's a situation that happened, like when George Floyd happened. That's all over the world.
Sure.
But we have incidents in Canada regarding Blacks, and it doesn't. Maybe the town, it might in the city or the town.
When we were conversing via Twitter, you were sending me pictures of food.
Yeah.
What that? Are you a cook or what was that?
Yes,
about?
yes. Well, yeah, Anthony. You see what happened, especially over the COVID. I started posting photos of my cooking because I love to cook Jamaican dishes, especially. And because as I told you, I had suffered from mental health because I was diagnosed when I was 27 with a manic depressive bipolar disorder. So I learned the kind of foods that I needed to eat, you know, for myself, and then also for my physical and my mental health. So when we got locked down, I started a program here in Montreal at the Jamaican Association, um, a cooking show called The Joy of Cooking, and I would just cook the meals and, you know, send it, you know, people would come online and watch it and get the recipe. And it got pretty popular to a point where I started inviting other chefs onto the show and they would cook. And so I would post all the time because I said, three things: you have to get proper sleep, you have to exercise, and you have to eat. And see that I'm a personal trainer and a mental health coach. That's what I'm always pushing out there.
Yeah. What were, when you say the foods helped you mentally? How did you? What were those foods? Let me ask you that.
Well, first of all, as I said, this go back to my Jamaican roots, because in Jamaica we have less than 3 million people in the country, right? We have the fastest man and woman in the world. When you look at our achievements that we have accomplished for an island with under 3 million people, it's astonishing. And if you look at their diets, okay, they're like, we have yam, okay? Yam is something is actually something originally from Africa, right? But you have yam, you have the banana, you have all of these.
Okay, let me stop you there. Yam, is that like sweet potato or what is that?
Yeah. But it's so you have the yam, okay, and it comes in the yellow yam, you have the white yam, and so forth. And it has a very thick, and you peel it off, and then you cut it up, and then you boil it, and then you know, with some kalaloo, right? You know, I'll give you just a dish right now.
Sure.
You know, so you have yam, and then you have some green banana, and you put that in, and you cook it with some kalaloo. You guys over here call it spinach, right? Because there's a lot of people that are not that are vegans, or the Rasta them say call it ital, because the Rasta them don't eat meat, so they're not going to eat arnold, which is the pork. They're not going to eat steak and all of that. But you can get chicken. No.
No chicken.
They might play with the fish. They might have a little bit of the fish, but technically it is a lot of vegetables, right? And they'll even eat the beans and stuff like that. But the whole idea of ital food is not to eat, mix it up with any kind of meats or any livestock and that, right? So a real Rasta, so you probably won't even eat eggs, right? But if you can get some yam or sweet potato and banana or okra and all of these, you know, spinach and that, and you cook that, you know, look at Popeye. Hey, Popeye, what does Popeye eat? Spinach.
right.
So, as I said, that kind of meal, it's good for your nerves, right? Because the yam, if you take a green banana and you just break it in half, you'll see all of the sap on everything like that, right? So that is good for your nerve, because if you're taking medication, you don't need to go to McDonald's or wherever and eat all this bread and all this processed food and all that. It doesn't help you, right? So that's what I call my mental health diet.
Okay.
Right. So I try to have that balance where, you know, you have a good meal, it's solid, it's going to hold your nerves. Then, as I said, you have your routine, your exercise. And I did this on Zoom for 2 years because of the COVID. And I came out of it, you know, fitter as a fiddle. And my students, and now I have clients all across the States, everywhere, that, you know, come on and work out with me.
What, give us another example. What about carrots and that kind of thing, and other items that you might cook with? Because I
No,
want
no,
to
no,
stay
no,
on
no.
this just a little bit longer.
No. Carrots, turnips, right? Beets. These are all, as I said, healthy food for you. And you don't want to, like, there's a certain of them you don't want to cook it. Like when it comes to carrot, it's better to steam it, right? So you don't lose, because if you overcook a carrot and all that, you're cooking out of the vitamins. You're cooking out the good stuff, right?
Okay.
So you want to, like, if you're gonna really get the satisfaction out of it, it's better you just even steam it, so it can still be a little bit crunchy, as opposed to just boiling and then cooking all of the vitamins.
Now they got this thing out now with the air fryer. Is that something you suggest? You familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, they got a new cooking device. I got one. It's the air fryer, and it cooks with hot air.
Well, that sounds good. I mean, if you're not using oil or grease or anything like that, definitely just the idea of that, like steaming or
Yeah.
that sounds like a good, definitely good device.
Well, if you could, have you studied what maybe slaves ate and the foods, because they ate okra and all those other
Oh
things, even
yeah,
though
oh
they
yeah,
had to eat all the bad stuff
yeah,
too. I mean, that was their meats, the scraps.
exactly.
It has all those benefits, so that might have helped them.
It helped them. Well, you have to think about even if this is slavery, you have to be a strong slave to be out in the fields, okay, and with what you were eating, because you're not having a lot of sugar and stuff like that. So you're out in the fields, you're picking cottons or you're cutting cane, right? But you're gonna eat okra, right? Because if you look at our another thing, melon, they're just things that you can eat, and it gives you energy as opposed to taking away the energy, and especially going to be out in the sun all day. And you look at, as I said, Usain Bolt, or you look at Shelly Ann Fraser, and if you look at their diet, this is what we grew up on, right? This is the stuff that you grew up on. So like meat is overrated,
Okay.
right? I'm not gonna
I've heard
I'm not
people
gonna
say
fight
that.
a guy down because he likes his steak.
Yeah.
But if you look at these athletes or these people that perform at very high levels, a lot of them are vegans.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know I've given up beef and pork, and I think chicken is next for me. I've seen some chicken. You can see the blood on it and all that.
Oh gosh, no,
Yeah, it
no, no,
looks unappetizing. I got a feeling chicken is next for going into next year.
yeah,
But
yeah.
let me ask you this: as we stay on this food, just that okra is nasty. How do you cook that to make that tasty?
You
Like
know, I no, my mother loves that. I couldn't, I don't like, there's ways to, it's better if you cut it up, okay? Because my mom used to just love to just take it, cook it and just slurp it in her mouth and like,
really?
but if you cut it in small, just like how you cut a carrot,
Yeah, yeah,
it's not as bad
yeah,
because the presentation makes all the difference. But it's
yeah.
not everything is, as I said, it's not everything that is good for you, looks good or
Yeah,
even tastes good. But there's
yeah.
certain ways you can prepare it that it's not too bad.
Well, you talked about exercise. Is it yoga that you do for mental health?
No, no, no. As I said, I'm an ex-professional dancer. So what I do, like right now, I do like a fusion of a dance workout class. So you'll have elements of Taebo, like Billy Banks, and I'll throw in some Zumba moves, right? So the whole idea is just to keep you moving for 35 minutes of, like, say, a cardio, and then we do some toning, and then at the end I'll even bring it down with either some yoga stretch or some Tai Chi, because I also studied Tai Chi for over 15 years. And what I found about Tai Chi, especially for your balance and also for your circulation, it's one of the best exercise out there, especially for us aging
Yeah,
adults. Like you get
right,
to a certain point and you don't want to go on the floor
right.
and you don't want to do a sit up and certain exercise. But there's certain things you can get from Tai Chi, personally speaking, that you cannot get from a lot of other exercises.
Let me divert back on this one. Do you think or know that there were exercises that slaves did?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, as I said, if you have to remember, a slave, especially that survived. Okay, I'll give you an example. There was a few years ago, capoeira was very big, and it was a form of martial arts that came out. It was like a dance. The slaves developed that because they were doing this self-defense martial art. So the slave masters didn't realize that they were actually practicing martial art. They'll just make it look like a dance. And if you look at, you can Google it, and if you look at it, it is a dance. It's set up in a dance form, but it's also very, very dangerous. Like when it's put into an attack form, right? It's just like martial arts.
Okay,
If you look at martial arts, it's a dance.
yeah.
Yeah. So the slaves were the ones that survive and were always mindful. They know how to exercise. They know what to eat, right? They were the ones that survived, that were able to get through that hardship.
I'm bouncing around just a tad. Do you drink a lot of water?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, especially because of my when I was diagnosed with my bipolar illness, your body like gets hot, overheat, and even before I knew that I had like this manic depressive, before I was labeled, I used to drink like a liter of water a day because I was just constantly craving water. But then I used to drink a lot of sugar, like a bottle of Crush or a bottle of Coke,
Yeah,
and I cut that because there's a crave for sugar. But once
yeah.
I cut that too, that made a big difference in my psyche.
As we come to a close, you mentioned this. Is it a badge of honor that you mentioned your bipolar and how you've overcome it?
Yeah, it is, because as I said, mental health is something that has been kept under the out of the in the back burner. So the fact is that I just thought I was just like a very energetic individual because I was playing sports, I was dancing, and it's when I had my breakdown, then I had this diagnosis. So, but instead of just kind of sitting down there and accepting that, I went on and I researched. And when I found out like people like Frank Sinatra, John F. Kennedy, there's all of these, great people that were manic, and especially a lot of athletes. And it's just a matter of you find a way on how to maintain it, how to balance it. And so now, that I went through that very hard negative thing and accepting it. And then now I can help other people that if they're going through it, it's not the end of the world. So like that's what I do. I go around and I actually do speaking engagement to tell people that are having a challenge. It's okay, you know. So
Have you beat it? Could you be diagnosed with it now and you just got it under control,
no,
or you
no,
beat it?
it's always there. I think it's like alcoholism. There's certain things that's always in your like certain people. They say that they got their alcoholism under control, but technically, you're you're are going to be an alcohol. You're going to be an alcoholic all your life. I mean, not the point is that you have it under control. Like me, I got bipolar under control. But if I stop and go off my routine, okay, and I don't like I still take medication, like I still take Epivel, I used to take lithium, and if I stop that, order of my lifestyle. In 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I could be high as a kite, and and everything would crash. Okay. So that's what I'm telling people. Like people look at me now and they go, "Nah, you're not crazy." You're not. Right. But because I have worked to put myself in this position. Right.
And so that's what your book is about too, right?
That the book is really about the journey of how I was like whatever you'd consider a normal, very active, energetic young individual. And, then you crashed and you burnt and then you got back up. And so I find, especially in the Black community, this is one of the most taboo topic. That's why I keep pushing it out there. I go, yes, I have bipolar illness. I'm antidepressant, but here in Canada, I've been with Bell Canada, which is the telephone company, for 5 years as one of the reps. And I'm one of the first Black rep who's actually out there speaking on behalf of mental health. And my eventual goal is to go back to Jamaica, where we really need mental health support and set up something to help people. Because a lot of people in Jamaica right now, that these shatas and all of these guys, killers, they need help, and they need help from here.
I love it. Yeah, how about this? And this just came up to, is because there's sugar cane in Jamaica, and I hear that diabetes is high there.
Yes.
Because of that. And so and when diabetes gets high, there's a lot of people that they gotta cut off their leg or something like that. I hear that that's an issue. Does sugar, do you think sugar contribute to the mental health?
Yeah, well, exactly, because when we're growing up, we everything is sugar. Okay, we just love sugar. I mean, it's like being a junkie. Like some people like a cigarette and everything like that.
I eat too much too.
But my thing is, like when I was growing up, was sugar. I mean, I was addicted to sugar. So I had to, it's because I had my mental health breakdown, then I realized there's things that you could do that would help to change that. And one of the things was actually decreasing my sugar intake, And yes, there's a lot of people in Jamaica, I swear. I mean, when you see them put all the salt, all the sugar, on their food, right? So there's a lot of things that they do that kind of may keep them in those negative places.
Yeah.
I got your diet has a lot to do with your well-being.
Let me ask you this: is there a question that I have not asked you? On the book or otherwise, I just try to make sure I clear everything. Is there something like that comes to mind?
Well, I mean, I guess you've kind of covered, because I didn't know exactly where you were going with this. Yeah, so it's just interesting how, I came to Canada. I learned to be here. I became strong, and being, because of a lot of negative things that happened to me, which could have broken me. And I am, very happy that we connected on this level. So you never know who's going to see this interview. And I'm also, the fact is that I have a son and a daughter. Overcoming adversity.
Yes.
I kind of, it could have been very, very different.
Yes.
But,
how about this? You're proud of yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm very proud of myself, Anthony. Thank you. Because sometimes when you do things, you're always looking around for other people to get, to acknowledge your achievement. But not everybody know what you went through, right? So it's hard for them to sometimes, be giving you high five, considering you're looking at somebody that spent 10 years, 11 years in the mental institution. I was hospitalized for over 10 years, 11 years. Where I was in and out before so it wasn't an overnight thing. Where I could balance myself out and take control of my life and go, okay, no, the only person that will be able to change this is you. And I stopped blaming the white man and, because I'm Black and because of this and that, and take control over my life.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
63. I'm 63 years old right now. And I'm proud. I'm happy.
Yes,
And
yes,
people actually pay me. They pay me to sit down or to go and tell my story. You know, like
yes.
last year when I launched the book, I sold over $3,000 worth at the book launch, and I took the check and I gave it to the research hospital here in Montreal, the Douglas, because they work with mental health. So as opposed to taking the money and putting in my pocket, I took it so they could put towards how we can help others in general. Right. So that's my mantra, because where I went,
That's good.
I'm in a position where I can help others not to go into that rabbit hole. Right. And as I said, for those that want to support, you can just go on Amazon,
That's right.
oddly enough, and buy a book and know that the money is not even going to me. It's going back to the hospital here at the Douglas Hospital for mental health research.
Are your parents still alive? Did they see what person you become?
Well, unfortunately, my father passed away 2 years ago, and in Jamaica, he was 93 years old.
Okay.
And my mom, she's major proud of me, because my mom is the one that when I was like real, I gave up. There was years ago, I was in the hospital and I'd given up, and I said, I don't even want to leave the hospital. And she physically lifted me up off the bed in Toronto and put me back on my foot and said, no, you got work to do. And my father said that I had a message for the world. And my mom said, we got work to do. And here I am in 2022, and then I wake up and I'm just very, very grateful, thankful. But I know what I have to do now. Like before, I wasn't sure why, why I this and that, but it's very clear. And I got to give a big shout out to my techie person, Christine, because she's the one that set up my Twitter account. Because if I didn't have my Twitter account, we wouldn't have met.
Yeah.
So, hey, Christine.
Yeah, hey, Christine, thank you for doing it. I mean, you're almost making me cry. I'm getting close.
Okay,
close. I met a person like you. And then now you found your mission.
Yep.
Everybody, this is what I do with Strong Inspirations. I find people like this guy. It was just God's sin that brought him to me. And that he agreed to come on here, and he wants to tell his story, and he's doing it succinctly. He wrote a book on it. There's no shame. He's serious about it. There it is, oddly enough. I love it. With that said, hit the subscribe button. Like I say, hit the like button on this video, hit the notifications bell, tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. And to you, my brother, I say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. Thank you for coming on the show. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. You're doing God's work now. This has gotten bigger than you.
Yeah.
And I know you know it. And I know you might say, why did I go through that? But that's beyond that. It's past that day now.
Oh, yeah, no, Anthony, that's what I'm saying.
That's past.
No, yeah. No, I just said, I know why I went through that. And I went through that so we can be here having this discussion. And as Bob Marley says in one of his songs, only the fittest of the fittest will survive. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Get up, exercise, go for a walk, stay physically engaged. And when you feel lonely, you feel suicidal, whatever, pick up the phone, call somebody. And you'll be surprised sometimes when you feel bad, you call somebody, they feel even worse, and they're just glad that you called. So.
Has anybody came to you and said you saved their life?
Yes. Yes. I have had that in the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic. I have like amazing feedback from the book, I've even had people call me up who was going to commit suicide, and I'd sit on the phone with them for like 2 hours or whatever the case is, just getting them to embrace their life and just just listening, because sometimes when somebody calls you, they don't even want you to talk. They just want somebody to listen to them. And that's where the healing starts. It's just by you being there to listen. And I just feel, as I said, like right now with what is happening, everything is just snowballing, because like, as you said, you never know who will watch this and they'll go, oh, that's the guy. Man, I wanted to go on Oprah. I wanted to go on Ellen. But in the meanwhile, I met Anthony. I just said.
Right. That's right. That's right. I love it, man. So you, like I say, stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love who you become.
Thank you so much.
And what you went through. And you told them kids, hey, I'm coming back, and they might have beat you up one day and you was back in practice the next day.
Oh yeah. With no tooth.
With no tooth. And scored the winning goal. Well, hey, everybody. Let me ask you this. Let me close us out in this. Is there a prayer that you say?
Yep.
That's gonna close us out.
Yeah. When I started my journey, it's funny because when all the negative things happened to me, there's one prayer that came to mind, and it looked like I just said it all the way through, even when I was in the hospital, in jail, all of that. And the Psalms came to me, Psalms 23rd, and I repeated it over and over again. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Thy rod and thy staff, that comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And there was always, thou preparest a table, in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. And that's what's happening right now. Like I'm meeting people, things are my grandmother always said about blessings following you. And you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, because trust me, when I was down in there, I saw things that, no, and you got through it. But the words in that one Psalms, that's the only Psalms I remember. I never pray all the other ones. That was the one that kept coming back, Psalms 23rd. Yep, that's the one that got me through.
All right, thank you. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
So Anthony, one love.
One love, brother.
Yeah, man.
Talk to you. Peace.